Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog. I have seen this type of reading vlog so many different times and just never really decided to do one for, I don't really have a good reason, but I am in the need of a 5-star read. So I decided it could be kind of fun to do one of these reading until I find a 5-star book videos. It's a really long title and my brain just totally glitched over saying it and I don't know why. So yeah, we're gonna do one of those. It hasn't been terribly long since I've had a 5-star read, but like I've had a couple recent ones that were kind of close, just weren't there, or I expected them to be 5 stars and then they weren't. And it's still my birthday month and I want a lot of really good reads. So that's going to be our goal with this video, to finally find a 5-star for the month. I actually, you know what, that being said, I might have one 5-star in June, but I started it in May. So in my brain that doesn't, it technically counts, but it doesn't. I want to start and find a 5-star read in June. So that's what we're going to be doing. I have an entire June TBR that's very long because I wanted to be able to mood read. So I think we're going to predominantly pick from that using a spinning wheel. That being said, I am in the middle of a book currently when I've decided to just randomly start doing this video, and that is Lights Out by Nevessa Allen. So we're going to finish this and then we're going to continue through the video. We'll see how many books it takes me to find a 5-star. Spoiler, this one's not going to be it. I already know this one's not going to be it. I am 153 pages into this and not loving it like I thought I was going to, which is, again, very disappointing because I know so many people really enjoy this. It's not the dark romance aspect of it, like that doesn't bother me. I've read some pretty dark romances. This is a more comedic take on some of it. I just don't really like the writing style and I don't like the main male character in here. Yeah. So I guess I should probably explain a little bit of the plot for this. This follows a trauma nurse and what does he do? Oh, a hacker who posts like thirst trap videos, I think that's what they're called, on social media platforms. And she is one of his biggest fans, really enjoys these. He's always masked in these videos. He never shares his identity and always has like fake blood on him, and there's some knife play, different stuff like that. And she's really into it. And she contributes a lot of that to all of the traumatic things she sees as a nurse in a massive trauma hospital. Which I can understand that. I can understand that a little bit. She sends a drunken text one day and it kind of spirals into this masked man figuring out who she is and stalking her because she says that she wants to be. So it kind of goes from there with their romance. What I don't really like about this is, this is gonna sound bad, how whiny the main male character is in here. He comes from a very toxic background. His father, I don't want to give a lot away, is not a good person, very prolific in the news, and Josh is just concerned that he's going to turn out like his dad, so he doesn't do a lot of things in his life and avoids them so that he doesn't turn into this. But like the way he talks about it, it's like, you are a, I think 30-something-year-old man. You probably should have figured these things out a while ago now, but like all of a sudden we're bringing them up like we're a teenager that's suddenly coming into our own and could maybe be displaying some of these characteristics that your father had. Like, we've had a very significant amount of time now that you should know if you have any of those urges or darkness to you. So that just kind of bothers me. I don't know why. And then I don't, like I said, not a huge fan of the writing style. I also just wish we got more of them outside of 2 different scenarios. Like, she's either always at work or she's at home and we're doing the stalking thing. And that's about it. Like, there's not a lot going on in their world and their character development. I just want more. I understand I'm only 150 something pages into this. It's like a 400-page book, so there's room for that to happen, but as of right now, it's not. And I'm disappointed by that because, like I said, everybody loved this book when it came out and I expected to really enjoy it and I just am not so far. Could it turn it around and become a 5-star read and this is all that we read in this video? Maybe, possibly. Don't see it going that way, but you know, I am up for a surprise. That would be nice. So we're gonna start with this and read for a little bit tonight and I will check back in at some point. It is significantly later in the day because it just got away from me as it normally does. But I am another 100 pages into this and actually pleasantly surprised that this is improving. Still, the writing's kind of giving Wattpad a little bit, but the overall plot is going in a direction that I didn't know that it was going to go. Obviously, like, I mean, it's further in the book, so it's not given away on the back, but like nobody's hinted at this that I've seen before, so that surprised me. And we're kind of moving away from just the stalker romance and the constant spice and actually getting some sort of storyline in here. Is it a little bit unbelievable? Yes. I'm just suspending my disbelief for now and just going with it because I wanted to enjoy this and I just want to have a good time reading it. So yeah, we're just doing that, and I'm being okay with it for now. We'll see how much more ridiculous it gets with this plotline, because I have a feeling it might, and it might become just way too unbelievable. I don't really know, but yeah, I am enjoying it a little bit more. It's redeeming itself, so that's a plus. In a shocking twist, I rated this 3 stars. I know that's not great, but for a long time I thought I was only going to rate this 2 stars, but like I said earlier, it finally turned around. Somewhere around the 50% mark, we found a plot. We remembered that it needed to be a part of the book. Why we couldn't have started the book off that way, I don't really know. I probably would have enjoyed it a little bit more. I mean, I guess the plot picked up because of the things that happened in the beginning. I don't know. I wish there was a way that we could have had something a little more substantial in the first 200 pages. I would have liked it a little bit more. But overall, it wasn't bad. There were definitely some cringy moments. I hated the repetition with the word yowl. When describing the cat, there were just, we kept talking about different kinks being unlocked. I'm like, okay. I feel like this is a little Wattpad-y at this point, just some of the different things in here. But overall, I did end up slightly enjoying my time reading this. So maybe 3 stars is a little generous. Maybe I was just really excited about the fact that we started getting something beyond just the spice and the masked man following her around. I don't know. That being said, I don't think I'm going to continue with this series. I was looking through some Goodreads ratings for different creators that I follow, that I kind of vibe with the same stuff that they do, and a lot of them, even if they liked this first one, did not like the second one, and then really didn't like the third one. It just seems like the overall consensus that the series gets worse progressively, and considering that this is a generous 3 stars, I'm just not very confident that I'm going to enjoy the remainder of these books. So we're gonna stop with this, and that's okay. You know, sometimes you try, it doesn't work out, you move on with your life. So that being said, we're gonna move on with our lives, and we are going to pick our next read. So I do have a little like wheel with all of the books from my June TBR on here, and we're just gonna, I guess, pick from that and see what we can come up with, how long it takes us to find a 5-star read, hopefully soon. So let me get the screen recording going. Okay. God, I really hope it's not a long book. I'm not feeling a long book, but I guess that gives it more of a chance to be a 5-star read. I don't really know. Oh, darn it. Okay. It's Metal Slinger. I'm not actually upset about this because I am very curious about this book because I know that so many people rave about the ending specifically. So I am very intrigued, but Caught Up was like right there, and I am feeling like the romance books just because it's summer and I start vibing with those books a lot, but that's okay. Let me go get Metal Slinger. Alright, so this is a romantasy following a young girl named Bryn. She has spent her life among the Alaha, training to be a guard and waiting for the chance to attend the annual market hosted by the Kenta, the very same people who exiled her adopted community to a life at sea. Going to the market's a rite of passage eagerly anticipated by all young guards, but Bryn does not anticipate breaking a century-long peace treaty while there, nor does she plan for the intense encounter with an enemy soldier that now threatens to unwind their fragile coexistence between the people and everything Bryn once believed about herself to be true. Bryn's loyalty to the Alaha is tested when the truth of who she is brought to light by this soldier who's taken an oath to bring her back to where she belongs. Narrowly escaping death on the violent high seas, Bryn's connection to the Alaha is further tested when she learns about the world of magic she's been denied. She was once certain of her fate and where she belonged, but the dark knowing eyes of this stranger have her questioning everything, including her heart. I actually really haven't read anything that is set... Oh no, wait, that was almost a lie. I think I've read one book that's coming to mind that's like set on a ship on the sea. That's about it, which is weird because I do love Pirates of the Caribbean and like those vibes. I have a bunch of books that fit those vibes. Mermaids, pirates, seafaring adventures. I just haven't read them, and I don't really know why. Actually, there's two. Technically, Trust of the Emerald Sea, I guess, fits that. Anyway, not the point. The point is, I'm actually really excited to get into something that's set that way, and I really want to know what the twist is in this. I'm a little worried that because I'm anticipating one, that it's just not going to hit as hard as it probably did for people that read this early on before it got really picked up and exploded across social media. But I'm hoping that's not the case. I do know the second one is coming out soon. If it's not already out, it's coming out sometime this year. So that's also kind of nice that if I do enjoy this, I could jump into the next one. I know I'm not notoriously great about doing that, but hypothetically I could. So yeah. All right, we're gonna start this, and I'm kind of excited about this. Fingers crossed on this one. I don't know that I'm gonna check back in anymore tonight. It is 2 in the morning, and I kind of just don't feel great after eating my dinner. So I'm probably just going to get a shower, go to bed, maybe read a little bit before I go to bed. I will check back in sometime tomorrow, probably in the afternoon, since I will probably spend most of the day sleeping. I hate working nights sometimes. Anyway, again, not important, neither here nor there. I will talk to you guys later. I had every intention last night of starting this before I went to bed, and it just didn't end up happening. I realized there were some things that I needed to get accomplished before going to bed. I had a video that I needed to edit, all of these things. And by the time I did, I was done. I was knocked out. I think it was like 4:30 in the morning. I just completely passed out. So didn't get any of this read. And then it's been a couple hours since I've been awake. Was trying to spend some time with my boyfriend before he went to work, but we are finally starting this, and I did get about 50 pages in before I came to kind of update you guys on where I'm at with this. So far, I'm really enjoying it. It's a very fast-paced, easily immersive book, and I like that aspect of it. It took me a minute to kind of figure out what was going on with the settings in here, because I thought that they lived on an island, but then they kept referencing that the, Alaha people don't live on land, and that going to this market was their first and potentially only time ever being on dry land. And I'm like, but I thought you were on an island. And I've slowly pieced it together that they are kind of on this like makeshift island that's not real land. It's like, I guess, in the middle of the ocean, and there's these massive, massive trees, and they have created like kind of like this treehouse community with bridges connecting all of these things, and they've put shops inside the really big trees because like they're that big. I don't know. I had to look up some artwork to kind of get a visual representation of it, because I'm starting to think I'm one of those people that can't picture anything while they're reading. Like, I have to work really hard. It doesn't just come to me. So I don't know if that qualifies or not. I don't know how vividly some people end up being able to picture things that they're reading the descriptions of in books. That's not important either. I just go on so many tangents that you guys just don't care about. I'm sorry. Getting back to the plot of this. So I figured that out, and we've already gotten through like the opening scene that's kind of described on the back of the book, where it's like, yeah, we went to this market and things kind of went really, really badly, and now potentially the entire peace treaty between the Alaha people and the Catan, I think, Kenta, I was so close, is destroyed, and they're not really sure. So we've had that entire climactic point, and we're kind of working our way through what's going to happen now. Bryn and her friends keep referencing some kind of plan and how different things weren't part of it, and I just feel like we keep hinting at things, and I'm like, am I supposed to know what this is? I don't know if I'm supposed to know what this is, but I would really like to. Like, I want to be on the inside of this. I have a guess what we're talking about, but I don't want to, obviously I'm not going to say it to you guys, because then that gives things away. But yeah, anyway, all that to say, I am enjoying this so far, and I'm very hopeful that this is going to be higher rated than Lights Out. We'll see, but I don't really know. That being said, I think I'm gonna go and probably have to do some things while it's still daylight out and I can actually get them accomplished. I need to go put my wrist brace on, because this is my wrist is starting to bother me today, and I'm supposed to be wearing it anyway. So I'm gonna go grab that, and I will check back in at some point when I've gotten through more of this. Okay, I love this line. She's like talking to her friends, or not talking to her. She's in training, and she was just elected as like one of the people to fight one of the best fighters in the group, and it's actually one of her friends. And it says that there's an air of mutual respect rating between them, and I decide right here and right now to quit trying to prove myself to people who don't care to know me. Like, that's such a great line. Yeah. I really like this main character, and I really like this book. So somebody's doing something in here. I don't know what they're doing, and I don't know how they're doing it, and I'm not going to give a pronoun because I don't want to give away who I'm thinking, but somebody's doing something in here, and I want to know what it is. We keep hinting at things that, like, we're not getting answers to, and it's driving me nuts. Alright, so I'm on my way to meet my friend for coffee. Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt. Don't judge. I barely wore it yesterday before I changed out of it. Anyway, I needed to update about Metal Slinger. I have like 100 pages left, and I am really enjoying it. It is so fast-paced, and we keep getting all of these little new reveals coming throughout the book. Some of them I've guessed, like there's nothing been so out of left field that I haven't seen it coming, and I've heard that that's the case. Like, a lot of people are able to guess some of the reveals throughout the book. I'm okay with that if they're done well, and you know, it keeps the story interesting, and I'm really enjoying it. I think the only thing that I wish we had a little bit more of was like just some more concrete world building, because we are moving so quickly through the story. I feel like we're kind of lacking a little bit of that, and I just want more because it's so, like, such a vibrant setting that we are in, and like I said, like a floating like treehouse colony or whatever. I want to know more about that. I want to hear more about that. How did this come to be? Because that's just so fascinating. And the magic system in this one is kind of similar to other magic systems, but also kind of different, like how we're getting our magic and how you come into your powers and everything. Like, I just want a little bit more of that kind of discussion. But other than that, I'm really liking it. I don't know if it's going to be a 5-star. I guess we will see how it ends. I think that's going to be a huge factor in this. But yeah, definitely a solid 4.5 star right now. And I really wish that I could just sit and read this, but literally just got up, got myself ready, and we're running out the door to go meet my friend. So I will hopefully be able to finish that sometime in the afternoon, or like later this afternoon when I get back home. We're in the last 2 chapters, and these are apparently the ones that just go completely off the rails and nobody is able to guess what's going on. I'm not entirely sure what I think is going to happen. Like, I don't have a super solid guess. I don't know. I don't know what this twist is going to be. So, hopefully it's a good one. Hopefully it lives up to everybody's buzzing about it. Whoa! What? Okay then. Okay. I definitely thought I saw hints of the part of the twist. I'm trying to phrase this in a way that's not going to give anything away. Definitely thought I saw hints of it, and then it went away, and I kind of forgot that that was a theory that I had until I read it, and I was like, ah, yes, vindicated. That being said, there were still parts of the twist that I did not see coming, and that was very surprising to me, and I would like a little bit more information on how that came to be, because we didn't really get an explanation, which makes sense, given everything that was going on. I think I'm actually really content with that twist. I know some people were really not happy with it because they felt like it was just too out of left field and it made them actually really angry. I'm okay with it because, like I said, I saw some of the setup for it, and I think that it aligns a lot more with certain character motivations and everything than where the story seemed to be going originally. And I like that. I think that that makes a lot of sense for this narrative and for the next book. So I'm actually pretty happy with this twist. I'm pretty happy about it. I think this is a solid 4.5 stars. It's not quite 5 stars. Like I said, I wanted more world building, I think that would have really rounded the story out and gotten it to that 5-star range if we just had a little bit more explanation for how things kind of came to be and descriptions on things. And like, we were moving so quickly, and I do really like a fast-paced story, but I just need a little bit more, just a tiny bit more, and we would have been there. Also, completely like an editorial thing, but there were a surprising amount of grammatical errors in here, sentences that had words in them that were not meant to be in that sentence, which was very odd. It definitely could have used another round of editing. I don't know if that's kind of a holdover from when it was an indie book, but like, this is the traditional version, so like the traditionally published version. So it should have gone through enough editing that we didn't have those problems. Not the author's fault per se, just something that I noticed, and that definitely like pulls you out of the story for a minute, where it's just like, why is this the thing? I haven't noticed that many before in a book, so that was surprising. But yeah, fantastic read. Really love it. Definitely understand why people were raving about this. Like I said, the magic system in here is kind of similar to other ones, but then also has its own unique spin on it for how people are given their powers, and I really liked that aspect of it. And then of course there are some new ones in here that you don't see as much in other books, so I think this is a really good book and a great setup for the second one, which I am now very excited to read. I'm not going to go into the next one because I do want to try to work my way through the list of books that I had for my June TBR, but I will probably get to it sooner than later. So I think we're going to take a break from reading for now, but I do want to pick my next book because I do love knowing kind of what my lineup looks like for my books. So let's go to my random wheel generator again. I have to take off Metal Slinger. Okay, so we took that off and spit. Once again, so close to caught up. I just don't understand. Oh, Direbound though. I have been really excited for this one. Okay, that's exciting. Okay, we're gonna remove that immediately. So we're gonna read Direbound next. I can't wait because I know that it's supposed to be like Fourth Wing, but with direwolves, and that just sounds so fun to me. And there's a really good chance this is going to be a 5-star one for me. Although I thought this was going to be too. Like, most of the books that I put on my June TBR, I picked because I thought they were going to be very highly rated, so. Okay, we'll get into that a little bit later. Like I said, I have some stuff that I want to do with my day, but I will check back in when I start. Once I've started, we'll see. I'll talk to you later. I might have fallen asleep and taken a bit of a nap. But yeah, we're awake now and we've been reading, and I've been reading it on my Kindle or listening to the audiobook while doing some things because I don't want to accidentally damage this gorgeous Fairy Loot edition that I have. This is the only edition that I currently have. So yeah, don't want to ruin this because like, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful. There's some of the end page art. Like, she's stunning. The book's stunning. So yeah, been reading it slowly. I think according to my audiobook, I'm like 13% through. So 70 something pages maybe at this point, maybe a little bit more, I'm not sure. And really enjoying it. This is another really fast-paced fantasy world that you're just diving into, and you know, kind of like the typical setup where it's a female character that is living sort of in poverty. She's taking care of her sister and her mother. Her mother has some stuff going on with her that requires a lot of just medical assistance that they can't afford. So the female character, whose name I can never remember because I suck at names, Marin, she like fights in underground fights as a way to make extra money, and she's just trying to survive. And then of course her sister gets kidnapped. This has been like a common occurrence where children are going missing, and Marin believes the only way to save her is to go to the front lines and manage to get into enemy territory and rescue her sister. So that's kind of the setup of where we're at with things so far. I don't really have any strong connections to anybody, but like I am, like I said, really enjoying it because it's so fast-paced. So I anticipate really enjoying this book. So I've made it about 170 pages into Direbound, and so far I'm loving it. This is such a fast-paced, action-packed world, and I think that it's going to continue that, hopefully continue that way through the rest of the book. I did kind of guess one of the little twists that was coming early on. I think that was probably just because of the amount of fantasy romantasy books that I have read at this point. It's not an uncommon one So that's kind of why I guessed it. I don't know if there were really any, there were some hints towards it, but like, yeah, I think it was just because I was like, nah, I have a feeling this is where this is going, because this is where this is normally going. And I'm not mad about it, like, it is what it is. But I do have a couple questions about how we are now going to take this new situation and this new reveal and what that's going to look like for her moving forward. I have a feeling that I'm going to end up really disliking the character that this is about, because I don't think they are going to have the response that I need them to, and I don't think they're going to interact with these whole dire bond trials the way that I need them to. Also, on that topic, these trials are ridiculously intense. Like, they're not just, oh, like, tests of strength and testing your bond with your thing. Like, they are killing each other graphically. There was one scene in here that unfortunately made me think of the Hunger Games, right at the end of the first movie, when Cato falls off of the cornucopia or whatever, and the mutts are tearing him apart. That has unfortunately lived rent free in my head since I've seen that. It's so, just such a disturbing scene, and unfortunately there's a scene in here that reminded me very much of that and brought that right back into the forefront of my brain, and I got to relive that. So I was like, great, good for me. So yeah, that was unfortunate. I have a feeling it's not the last gruesome scene that we are going to get in here, but yeah, I didn't expect these trials to be this intense. So I have high hopes for getting through a decent chunk of this tonight, maybe finishing it, we will see. But yeah, I am really enjoying it so far. Okay, so it is like 2 in the morning? What time is it? 1 in the morning. Ha! Earlier than I thought it was. And I am 300 pages into the book now, and just eating up every little moment of this. There are just, you know, it's kind of formulaic almost in the way that it's written. It is very similar to the concept of Fourth Wing, where we've bonded with these magnificent animals, and we are now going through a training regimen to try to learn how to be good partners with them, learn how we're going to function in battle together, and then of course there's little outlying plots going on. In this one, it's the fact that kids from her town are being stolen, and it seems like nobody's doing anything to save them from, they believe, the vampires that they're fighting against coming into the city and kidnapping them in the middle of the night. And then, of course, her mother having like these mental health problems that she's concerned that she is now sort of picking up a little bit, and she's worried that she's going to start having these troubles as well. You get all of those little things. And like, yeah, that might be a little bit formulaic because it's a similar construct to other romantasy books, but you know what? If it's done well, I'm going to eat it up every time, and this is done well, so I am in fact eating it up. Did we hit another plot point that I think was supposed to be kind of like a surprising reveal, and I kind of guessed that it was going to happen? Yes, but again, I believe that's because I read enough of these at this point that I'm like, yeah, I think this is where this is heading, and I wasn't wrong, and it is what it is. I don't care. I'm not mad about it. I like with the other one, I'm curious to see how we decide to move forward from here, because I think that's always the biggest thing that sort of makes it, there still has to be something that differentiates from some of the other stories that are similar to this. So the first one that I guessed, we're actually going in a direction with it that I was a little surprised by. I didn't think that was what was going to end up happening, so I'm appreciating that, and I'm hoping that this is going to be kind of the same deal. So I do think that I'm going to be able to finish this tonight. I don't see a reason why not. I have like 260 pages left, 250 something pages left. Anyway, according to my Kindle, I only have a little over 2 hours left to read. I think it said I have like 2 hours and 12 minutes left. So yeah, I don't really anticipate that being a huge problem. So I'll continue to check back in. Maybe at the end of this, because I feel like I'm just gonna get really sucked into these last like few hundred pages. Finished Diarybound. And she was a solid 4, maybe 4.5 star read. God, I really thought that this was gonna be our 5-star read for this video going into it. I just, as much fun as I was having with this, and I was, like, don't get me wrong, I was really enjoying this. I was hoping that by the end we were going to hit some kind of plot point that I wasn't going to be able to predict, and unfortunately I did, like, for most of them, and maybe like there was one overall that I didn't see coming, and it just wasn't enough to make this stand out as a 5-star read, unfortunately. Like I said, I did really enjoy it. I do still enjoy books that follow these plot lines, but like to get a 5-star for me, it has to be still just something unique enough about it from the other romantasy books that sets it apart. And I just wasn't getting that, unfortunately, for this one. So I still, like I said, enjoyed my time reading this. Still definitely going to read Fury Bound, so hopefully sometime soon, within the next few months. And I think I'll still really enjoy that. It's a good time, and I would definitely recommend this book. Just, you know, not quite a 5-star. And I had to be true to myself for that one. So, you know, it means that we have another book to pick for this video. I should probably not be letting a spinning wheel choose these because, like, there's a chance it's just random. Like, maybe I should just be picking what I feel is going to be a 5-star, but all of the books on this list I put on my TBR for the month because I thought they were going to be 5 stars. So, I don't know. It is what it is. So, we will go back to recording our spinning wheel and see what we get this time. Okay, The Poet Empress. I'm really excited for this one because, one, it is my book club pick for this month, and two, there are a couple different creators that I follow that have given this 5 stars and really, really enjoy it. So let me go find that really quick. Okay, so like I said, we had The Poet Empress. This is the, I believe, the Illumicrate version of this one, which is very pretty. I love the naked hardback on this one. Hi, Horton. You gonna come up? Come here. Oops, sorry, bud. Okay, so this one is set, I believe, in... It's a fantasy world. And it follows a young rice farmer who agrees to become a concubine because she is just from a very impoverished family, and she thinks that becoming a concubine to the prince will help change her family's station in life. The prince is a monstrous wielder of poetry magic, and he's, of course, the heir to the Azella throne. She's now confined to the imperial court, and his cruelty is not the only danger that she faces. He and his honorable older brother are locked in a deadly succession war, while Terran's 30 concubines are fighting a war of their own for the position of future empress. To survive, Wei must harden her heart, rely on her wit, and become dangerous herself, even if it means learning the one forbidden poem that can kill Terran and save both herself and the nation. But there's a problem. For the spell to work against a man she hates, it must be written with love. I've been told that this is not a romance at all, which is fine. The concept of poetry magic, for one thing, is really kind of captivating, and it sounds like it's going to be really beautiful, but then you get that added element where it's like, to write poetry magic that is successful, you have to do it with love, and it has to be a genuine feeling. So how do you find love in yourself for this absolutely terrible ruler that has put your family and so many other families in terrible positions in their lives? So I think that this is going to be a very moving story, and that's my understanding from the people that I've seen rave about the book. I'm really excited to get to this one, actually, so I'm glad that the spinning wheel picked this. We will see if this is a 5-star. I don't think I'm going to start it tonight because at this point it is like, yeah, 4:30 in the morning, and we're starting to hit my bedtime. So I will probably start this sometime tomorrow, maybe, and we'll see if this one will be what we're aiming for. Alright, so it's been a few days, actually, because I had work this weekend, and I just knew I wasn't going to be able to dedicate a lot of time to this or to talking to you guys about it if I was able to, so I just decided to wait to start The Poet Empress. But I do have a night off tonight, and it's supposed to be like rainy all day and thunderstorm, so I think that's going to be the perfect vibes to sit and start binging this book. So I'm, like I said before, very excited about this one, and I'm excited to see what all the hype is about. I'm gonna have to see if there is a Kindle version available on Kindle Unlimited. That way I don't have to like, I always worry that I'm going to like ruin the sprayed edges if I read the physical books in my special editions, because some of them just seem to separate too much and then the artwork looks weird. But I don't want to, obviously I'm not going to buy another edition just to read it that way. So if I can't find it on Kindle, then we will be reading the physical version. But I'm going to jump into this tonight, and I'm hoping that I find a 5-star. Like, I'm just really shocked that I haven't so far. So yeah, I feel like we've been doing this for a while, and hopefully this is going to be what we're looking for. So I decided to just read the physical edition because I'm just craving reading a physical book for some odd reason, and
I don't know how to explain that other than I just am. I don't want to read on my Kindle. I am loving this prose so far. I'm only like 30 pages in. I'm really not very far at all. But it's such a beautiful narrative. The opening of this is devastating. She's talking about how they just buried the fifth infant in their family, and you learn very quickly that it's because she is from such an impoverished little community and nobody has the proper amount of food, and babies just can't make it. They just don't have enough to sustain them. And it's devastating. It's such a sad opening to it. But the way that the prose is written, the story is coming across just really like elegantly and very, I don't know, it's like, it's really, the narrative isn't quick moving, like as far as the plot goes per se, but you're learning everything super quickly. Like there is not a lot of exposition when it's not necessary. The world building's not super heavy, but you're learning everything that you need to in a very succinct manner. And I appreciate that. I like that. And then, yeah, there are beautiful moments with the prose. When she decides that she's going to try to be a concubine, to bring sort of this aid to her community, everybody steps up and starts gifting her with these things that she can take as an offering to the prince to try to help her odds of getting chosen, even though everybody around her is still also very poor and doesn't have a lot to offer. And it just reminded me so much of a quote from The Grapes of Wrath about how if you are in need of something, go to the poor people, because there's nobody that will offer you aid like somebody that is also in need. And obviously, like, that's not an exact quote of it, but that's the sort of the essence of the quote. And there's something beautiful in that, but also devastating, because it's like, what? These poor people have no help, and, you know, sometimes that's not actually the way that it exists in the real world, and we shouldn't, people that have things should be the ones that are giving it to the poor, not the poor people also, like, giving what little they have to other poor people. But it, you know, like, that sad duality of nature where it's like, there's beauty in it, and then there's also a little bit of tragedy as well. But yeah, anyway, I'm rambling now, but I'm loving this, and I could definitely see this being a 5-star. Obviously, we're not very far into it, but the prose itself is definitely selling me on this book, and I think there's going to be a lot of very sad, moving lessons to be learned from this one. So yeah, I'm loving it. Okay, I did not update much yesterday at all, mainly because like I just didn't feel good. I had a headache. I was pretty much just listening to this on audio for the remainder of the day after like my last update. I just, yeah, wasn't feeling great. Today's a little bit better though. The sun is shining and my headache is comes and goes. Whatever. But I have made it 245 pages into this, and yeah, I know, like I said, really didn't update you guys at all, and I am sorry for that. But I'm really enjoying this world that is being created. It's a beautiful, descriptive, and just like very enchanting world almost, with all of the imagery going on in the palace and the way that that's all constructed, and the magic system and the way that poetry magic works, and some of the otherworldly creatures that you have in here that you only really get little glimpses of. Like, so I'm not selling this as like, oh, there's dragons. No, you get little glimpses of it, but it's beautiful and like well-rounded world. But then it's so like contradicted with the actions that are going on with Wei and Taryn, and the way that he is treating her as his concubine, and it's heartbreaking seeing her go through this and what she's putting herself through in order to try to help save her family and her town, and ultimately like the entire region, by trying to get rid of this absolutely terrible prince before he becomes emperor and gets his full powers, and nobody is really able to stop him and control him anymore. And even if she has those moments of doubt where she's like, I can't do this anymore, he is really just like broken me down too much, she really doesn't have an option. He will kill her if she leaves. So she's stuck in this, and it's just like that tense anxiety that she has all the time you feel reading this, because there is no way out but to succeed. So like you are constantly on the edge of your seat hoping that she's able to do this, but then you get some of the backstory for what is going on with the prince and his family, and it brings in a lot of conversation about familial relationships and the idea of like brotherly conflict, and everybody's like, oh no, like
you know, like little brothers when they fight and stuff, and it's like it's fine. That's what brothers do, and they're pushing each other to be better. But when does that start warping into something nasty and terrible and start making people that you don't want, especially in positions of power, where it's like, if you guys had just worked together instead of fighting your entire lives because everybody was pitting you against each other, we could have had like such a strong nation and a strong ruling family. So that's incredible. And the person that Taran was when he was younger, I don't want to give anything away too much, but like, it wasn't who he wasn't as an adult. And I think along with Wei trying to form this love for him so that she can create this death poem, the author is also kind of pulling on the reader's heartstrings, going, hey, like, this is what he used to be, and look at him now, and how did we get here? And I don't know if I'm ever going to grow to love him as an adult, but him as a child broke my heart. So lots of contradictory things going on in here. Beautiful, beautiful writing. And it's just, you know, I really do think this could be a 5-star. It's fantastic. It's really going to come down to how this ends. But yeah, I'm loving this so far. So I am definitely finishing this today. I do have a nail appointment that I'm going to go to because my nails are, you can't even see that because of the sun, extremely grown out and very, very long, and they're going to break at work one of these days. So definitely need to go get these dealt with. So I'll probably read on my Kindle a little bit there, and you know, I will update you guys at some point. At this point, I have like 150-ish pages, I think, something like that. So I don't know if you'll see me before we finish or not. I don't know. I've been so bad at vlogging recently. My life is just not very, I don't know, aesthetic. So I feel like whenever I come on and update, I just don't have anything that you guys are going to want to see. So I just don't come on and update. And that's terrible. I'm also really bad about not giving spoilers, and I don't want to do that. So yeah, anyway. Rambling. Again, I'm done now. I will see you guys at some point later. So getting my nails done didn't happen because I got there and they were full. And they also had like 5 people waiting. So that's going to be a tomorrow thing, I guess, which means I came back home and just sat down and have absolutely binged through like the 100-something pages that I've made it through. I only have like under 40 pages left, and I'm so nervous where this is going to go. The amount of times that I like just closed a chapter and just stared in nothingness because of the twists that have happened in the narrative and in the backstory, it's heartbreaking. It's absolutely heartbreaking. And she is just doing such a good job of making complex characters that you struggle to understand if you hate or if you kind of feel for and understand what they're going through. And of course it's adding to the story itself. And then I don't think I mentioned this before, but I'm loving all of the culture and tradition that is built into this story. I haven't read a lot of books that are based on Asian mythology and cultures, and I'm really enjoying it. It's so vibrant and just beautiful, and I am loving it. But all in all, a super heartbreaking book, and I'm really nervous to get through this last 40 pages because I feel like we should be done by now, but there's still more, which means that it's probably going to break me if there's still about 40 pages left in this narrative, and I'm not ready for it. We finally found our 5-star. And wow. I thought I was gonna make it without crying. And then like the last page of the last chapter got me. Wow. I'm shocked by the way that this story went. But then like once the explanation was there, I actually really appreciated the decision that was made. Because I feel like it felt so true to what the original narrative and story of this book was, and I was happy about that because I thought it was going to try to reflect the necessity of change in values and in people in wartime and when things are really hard, and that's not what it ended up doing, and I liked that. I liked the narrative that it pushed forward and the messaging that it pushed forward about what should truly matter to a ruling people, and wow. I really like this. I really like this. So much devastation and heartbreak in here, and beauty too, but in a really sad and depressing way. And my heart breaks for the two little boys that are in here, and that, like, without giving anything away, and what their lives were, and great depiction of like the terrible way that life pits family against each other and the way that it can just destroy so many things in here. Oh my god, this is beautiful. I really wish I had read this before I made my last video talking about like impactful books that talk about human nature and people and grief and trauma, and because so much of that is wrapped up in here. Holy crap. Wow. This is definitely going to be one of my favorite books this year, I feel like. So yeah, I don't have full sentences currently to continue talking about this, so I'm going to stop now because I got to go stare at a wall for a little bit and think about this. But absolutely 5-star read, incredible. So glad that I picked this up, and so worth it. Please go read The Poet Empress if you haven't. It's absolutely insane and beautiful and stunning. It's a masterpiece. I can't believe this is her debut novel, and I cannot wait to read other things by her. Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Okay, that's all I got. Thank you for watching this video if you made it this far, and I will see you in another one very soon. Bye, guys.